Welcome to our video refactoring series. I'm Rob and I'm a junior engineer at Simply Business, and this is Nitish.
Hi, I'm Nitish. I'm an engineering manager here at Simply Business.
If you've not heard of Simply Business, we are a tech firm based in London, and we also have offices in Boston and remote workers from across the globe. So I'll pass it over to Nitish, and if you could give us a quick insight in what to expect with this video series.
Sure, Rob. So in this video series, what we're going to do is look at ways to evolve an existing code base using some really simple rules for design and as well as simple techniques for refactoring, taking tiny steps to improve the shape of the code, to improve the design, as well as your own understanding of the code base.
All right, welcome to the third episode. We are going to jump straight back into where we left off last time. So just as a reminder, in the previous episode, we were addressing a code smell which is named feature envy. Nitish, if you could give our viewers a quick reminder of what feature envy is.
Yep. So the feature envy is is a smell that indicates the idea that a method in a particular class seems to be more interested in the method or the data of another class. So what we had over here, for instance, was, we are in the world command class, and we saw some code here in this method, which seemed to be a lot more interested in data obtained from the player class or from the player's location, whichever way. But ultimately starting from the player, trying to obtain data from location and doing things with it. So that's what we got rid of in the previous episode of this refactoring.
Okay, perfect. And just before we finished our last episode, you noticed that there was another area that this smell seemed to apply to. So we're going to address that in this video now. And it's in the same class we're working with before. And the player.location.tile.events, this line.
Yeah.
Perhaps you want to give us a quick intro into what we're going to do with this one.
Yep. So yeah, even over here, again, looking at the same two methods that we looked at the last time. So we've got over here quite a long method chain, which which is often called a train wreck as well, because it's kind of like, essentially a train or a sequence of method calls, right? So one of the things you'll see in terms of duplication, again, going back to the 4 rules of simple design, minimizes duplication. So we are looking at small amounts of duplication, like this method called chain, right? So player.location.tile over here and player.location.tile over here. And of course, in this particular case, there's even further method calls based on that, right? So this is, you could say this is kind of, again, a little bit of a feature envy method call sort of train wreck as well. And one of the problems with this kind of code is that it couples the caller, the client of that code, in this case, the world command class or object, to the structure of the classes that it's using, right? So you want to minimize the information that world command has about the structure of player or location, right? So to me, the concept over here seems to be that a player has a tile or is on a particular tile, right? So I should be able to obtain that directly from the player rather than having to know that player has a location, and then the location can provide me the tile.
So the idea here is that we want to tell player to give us the tile that it's on, rather than the way it's doing it now, which is through the different structures of or the layers. It's showing us where the tile is.
Yeah.
So we want to create a method that's on player that's going to tell us what tile it's on.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So let's see. In this case, I think the simplest way would be I would normally extract method and whatever use the ID as much as possible. But I think in this case, the simplest would be just to do it by hand. It's quite a simple change, Right, so I'm just going to replace that with, let's go to the player class. Right, I'll add a method here, tile, and all it does is location.tile, and that should be about it.
It's working. So just to confirm my understanding of this, so when we were saying that we're coupling the world class with the way that player is getting the location information, if we go back to the if we go back to the player class now,
Yeah.
We from the world class no longer know how player gets its location. So if for some reason it needs to change the way that it's getting the location, so instead of it being location.tile, it for some reason is calling another class, or it's getting data from some kind of edge case that requires it to do it a different way. For us in the world class, it doesn't matter. We don't need to know that. It's just a black box. We tell player that we want the location, the tile location, and then we'll get that back. And if the way that player needs to get that changes in the future, then we don't have to refactor our world class because it's still making the same call to player, and it's ignorant to how player then gets that tile location.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, cool. All right, brilliant. So that was quite a short one, but hopefully hammers home the point around the code smell for feature envy. I will include a link to a description. Obviously, Natish's done a great job. If you want to read up a little bit more about it, we'll include a link in the write-up. Is there anything else we're doing in this class, or is this?
That's it, really. Sounds like a good point to stop. Yeah, we've extracted the method. This line was not much longer, slightly longer. Now it's a slightly smaller method called chain.
Yeah. One question is, I got the sense that one of the things that highlighted you to going, okay, this is maybe something that we could do, is the fact that you saw it duplicated. Was that a bit of a smell in, you saw that there was two places that we can see where player.location.tile is being called? Was that one of the things that made you think, oh, that's maybe something that could be refactored in the first place?
I think so. I think that, as well as, of course, the idea of the train wreck method called style, which, by the way, is to some extent also functional style. In functional style code, you'll often see these kinds of method calls, not so much in object orientation. Over here, of course, we are doing a mix of both. So in some cases it's fine, in some cases it's maybe not. But yeah, it was to your point, it was those two sort of heuristics that made me think about it.
Okay, perfect. All right, cool. So thank you for joining us. We will be doing more episodes where we jump into further refactors in this code base. So look forward to having you back, and thank you, Natish.
Thanks a lot, Rob.